What's up guys, it's Instinct here, and today I'll be showing you guys how to do this mecha text effect. This effect will work with a logo and it will also work with text. It is pretty easy to do and it doesn't really take that much time. It takes pretty much zero modeling and you can do this with literally any version of Cinema 4D. And you do not need any plugins at all. So it is really nice. Literally anyone can do this. It's a pretty beginner level tutorial, so it's not too complicated, but it can get a little confusing at times. As always, if we get 100 likes on this video, I'll give away the materials in the tutorial. Not these materials, because these are my premium private materials as well as my Lightroom. But if we can get 100 likes on the video, I will give away the materials that I am going to be using in this tutorial, in this example. And I will also give away the project file for free as well, completely for free, and everything you will need will be in the description. So check the link in the descriptions for some free stuff. Alright, so with all that being said, let's get right into the tutorial. Alright, so to start off, we're going to go ahead and click No Graph and click No Text, which is right here. What you guys want to do straight away is go to the object and click align, click left, click middle. So what we want to do now is we want to change the text. So like I said before, I'm just going to use some mecha, but of course use whatever text you guys would like. And I'm just going to go ahead and click away. And then what we can do is change our font. So I'm going to go right here where it says font, and I'm going to choose this mechanical looking font. It is let's see. It is, I believe it was this one. Yes, it was this one. So Technopalas. I'll leave a link in the description of how you guys can get this font, or leave the font link in the description. Now, it is a little bit too big. We could zoom out, but I do not want to zoom out. So I'm just gonna scale the text down just a little bit, like so, and make sure that stays in the middle. It should be in the middle, and it is in the middle. We are perfect. All right, so now I'm just gonna move the text down a little bit to line it up with the lights a little bit better, like so. Just center it, and actually I'm gonna move the camera up because it just looks a little off. There we go. That looks a little bit better. All right, so now what I'm gonna be doing is I'm gonna go to caps, and this is the key part. We're gonna leave these both on caps, so you don't have to do anything there. But what we're going to do is we are going to go to display and click ground shading. Now the only reason I'm doing this is so you guys can visually see what is exactly happening and why this effect works and how to use it. So go to type, and on type you see n-gons. Click on quadrangles. It will also work with triangles as well. But I haven't experimented with triangles, but I'm just going to use quadrangles just because it's better geometry for what we are working for, or what we are doing. And so once you click quadrangles, you'll have this option to select regular grid. We're going to check this box, and as you can see, now we have some geometry on our text. And it is not very big, or it's not very small, which is what we want. So what we're going to do is we're going to change this down to 1 centimeter. And as you guys can see, if we go out of the camera and we zoom in super close, there's a ton of geometry on there. But this still isn't enough. We're going to need a ton of geometry. Now, I will give you a little bit of a warning. Do not go too overboard with the geometry in the subdivision, because this what we're doing here is super heavy on your computer, so it might crash if you go too heavy. So I highly recommend just going to File, go to Save As. Save it wherever, it does not really matter. I'm just gonna save it as this, and I'm gonna do it as just save this incremental tutorial. You guys will see what that means in a minute, like so. Yes. So and click 1. So name it whatever you want. 1. Put it in a folder and name it Mecha Project or Mecha Text or whatever project you're working on. So you want to make a new folder here because this is a tutorial. I'm not going to. So go ahead and click file name, go ahead and click save. And now what we can do now is go to file and go save incremental, and it will save another one. And as you guys can see, it says 2 up here now. So basically what save incremental does is it kind of makes backups, and that is really good because if it corrupts, if because it could corrupt. It has happened to me a few times before, just because the heavy work, what we're doing is really really heavy. So basically, my desktop is a mess, but it is it's somewhere. But yeah, it's saved somewhere. It's right here. It's saved incremental 2, and let's see where's the main one. It's right here. So these two are the two. So as you can see, this is the one I originally saved, and then this is the backup. So every time you click save incremental, it makes a backup. I know this is kind of off track, but I just want to make sure you guys are saving multiple copies in case it corrupts, because we are doing heavy work and there is a good chance it might. So we have one width. I'm gonna go down to 0.2. That work. Okay, the smaller the number, the better the effect, the more clear and sharp it will be. But it will take longer to render and it'll be harder on your computer. So I'm gonna go with 0.2, and I have a pretty beefy computer, so this should work well for me. I might go down to 0.1, and yeah, as you can see, it's gonna lag a little bit. Just let it do its thing. Just be patient. Okay guys, we are back, and I actually got a little bit concerned because that took way too long. But as you guys can see, I put it at 0.1 centimeters, and it literally just looks like normal text. I mean, it really is normal text, but when we zoom in, you're gonna see how freaking small these boxes are. Look how small that is. It is insanely small, to the point even this close, it's invisible. So this is a little bit too much. Actually, I could do this, but because I'm recording, I'm gonna reduce it a little bit, just because it almost crashed on me, and I really don't want it to crash. So I'm just gonna do 0.05. Should work fine while I'm recording this. But realistically, you guys want to experiment and go as low as you can. I would say 0.1 is fine. And if you have like a decent PC, I would do 0.5 or 1. I wouldn't go higher than 1. I would try to get it at least 1 or lower. But yeah, I'm gonna go with 0.5 centimeters, and as you guys can see, it's a lot bigger now. It's not nearly as small as it was, but it's still small enough for the effect to work. Alright, so now we have this. As you render it out, it's not gonna look any different. It's just gonna look really, really smooth. So now what we can do is we can go to the object, and we can type in 50 or 60 for the depth. I'm gonna do 60 this time. Originally I did 50, but I think 60 is gonna work a little bit better for the style. All right, so now what we want to do is we want to make sure we're on the text. And we're gonna go to MoGraph, we're gonna go to Effector, we're gonna go to Random. And the only reason we're doing this is because, well, we want a little bit of some rotation and a little bit of tilt and angles in our text. So I'm just gonna give it a little bit of some cool little angles, check rotation as well. And you can kind of mess around with the sliders, get like something you want or something you like. And I might speed this up if it takes a little bit for me to get something that I really like. Let's see, let's hold it down a bit more. So, and let's see, that's fine. What? This a little bit more. Okay, so I think this is really nice. Again, you guys can mess around with this as much as you want. Get whatever angle you want, basically. You can also do it manually if you want, because that's what we're gonna do now. So make sure this is something you would like, and I would highly advise clicking Control-C, Control-V, and double-clicking on this and name it back, or BAK for short. And I'm just gonna drag this down here, and we're gonna click these two dots, click this little check mark, and turn that off. This is simply just a backup in case we mess up, because once you go and start modeling and adding the displacers, you cannot go back and change the text. So that's why I'm just simply going to make a backup. That way, if we mess this one up, we have exactly what we had before. So now we're going to click the text. We're going to click C. Now you can no longer change the text, but you can still rotate the letters around if you want. Make sure to click the letter. If you're rotating these letters, make sure to click the letter and go to Mesh and go to Axis Center. Click Axis Center and make sure these two boxes are checked. and click execute. And what that will do is, you see, it just move this little rotation tool into the center of the letter, so now you can freely rotate it from the center rather than before rotating it from here. It's just like a little tip, and it makes life a lot easier. But I'm not going to rotate these letters because I already like how they're oriented. So what we're going to do now is we're going to click M and hold shift and click the last letter, so make sure all your letters are selected. And now once we press it, we're going to press C again, and now we cannot change it at all. We can only model from now. And what you're also going to want to make sure you're clicking on this button. This just basically makes it to where you can see like the little if I go to display and go to ground shading, we can now like select the little caps. So if I go to the cap, we can see all the little tiny selections. Yeah, so you can clearly see that now we can start selecting all the segments. And but we're not going to do any of that because we're not going to model. So what we're going to do is we are going to go, so every letter should have this little triangle thing. What you want to do is you want to click the little plus button and pay close attention, because this can get pretty confusing if you don't know anything about modeling or what all these layers do. So we're going to hold shift on cap 1 and cap 2, select both of those. Move them out of the M, because you can see that they're in this little M thing. We're going to move that out. Cap 1 and cap 2 is the back in front of the letter, and then this M right here is the side of it. So I think I'm in my camera, I think. Yeah, I just messed my camera up. Oopsies. I'll fix that later. So these caps, like I said, if you select it, this is the back cap, and this is the front cap, and then this is the side. So we want to remove the front and back of the letter from the M. So we want to separate them because we only want the effect on the caps. We don't want them on the rounding parts. So what we can do is we can select both of these caps and hold Alt and G, and that will group the caps. So, and now we can name this M, and we can also name this M cap. So we notice the caps of the M's. And we're going to repeat this process for each letter you have. So we're going to move these out. And do not delete the letters, like the M and the E, like the roundings, because we will need those because those are the roundings of the letters. So we're going to hold Alt G, and these are the E caps. And I might speed this up. So yeah. Okay, I'm not sure if I mentioned this, but to group, all you have to do is Alt and G, and that will group the layers into a null, which is basically a group. So this is A caps, and there we go. So now we have we have the roundings separated from the caps. What we can do now is select the M and hold Control, and this will let you select more than one layer. So basically, you want to select all like the roundings, and you know it's gonna be right when you have when these little lines are blue on each letter. And we're gonna hold Alt G once more, and this is the roundings. So I'm just gonna write mecha roundings, or just whatever your text is roundings. So this is just letting you know that these are the roundings and these are the caps. And what we can do is we can also group these caps, hold Alt G, make sure you select them all, of course. And we have mecha caps, or whatever your word is, or the text is. And if that was confusing, I apologize. I explained it the best I could, but I can easily understand how you guys can get confused, because it's a little confusing if you guys aren't familiar with Cinema 4D or modeling or any of that. So I'm gonna go ahead and fix my camera, which this is 0. This is I'll leave that at 0 for now, and we'll put this at negative 800. See what that looks like. And move this back up just a little bit. So there we go. We fixed our camera. Okay, so now we have the caps separated from the roundings, which is what we want. And the reason we are doing this now, actually, I'm gonna go ahead and let's see. I'm gonna move this over a little bit and see what this says. Okay, this is the mecha. And I'm just gonna have to bring this out of the text because we don't need this anymore. I just feel like that makes it a little bit more confusing. We're gonna also put the random in the mecha. You don't necessarily have to, but I feel like it's more organized if you do. So now what we can do is get a displacer. So hold down on this little thing right here. Go to displacer, go to shading, and click layer. So click this little arrow right here, click layer, click on this black square, and click image. Now, these are some displacement maps I have made using a software called JS Displacement. I'll make a separate tutorial on how you guys can make these, but just go ahead and click the link in the description. I'll give you a link to the displacement map I'm using in this tutorial, and I'll make a separate tutorial on how to create these because this is a entirely different thing here. So I'm gonna use, let's see, Greeble 4 is my favorite one. So I'm going to click Greeble 4 and I'm going to click no. And if we hit display and click ground shading, which is what we want because this will allow us to see the displacement, and now it didn't look like it did anything because we haven't applied it to the caps, but all you have to do is go to your caps and drag it in with the caps, and boom, we now have the mecha effect, the displacement on all the letters. And of course, like I said, it's only on the caps, which is why we did all that to separate the caps, because otherwise, if I'll show you what it looks like with the with it on the roundings, and let's just say it doesn't look good in my opinion. It just kind of looks like sloppy. It just doesn't look as neat. I personally would recommend only having it on the cast because I just don't think it looks good on the roundings. Like that looks a lot, like that just looks sloppy. But if we only have it on the roundings, it looks a lot better. And even if you increase the subdivision on the text in the letters, it just gets too chaotic. So that's why I'm only doing it on the cast, because I moved the camera again. I need to stop doing that. It just looks sloppy. So that's why I only have it on the caps, if anyone was wondering why we did all that, and that is why, because we only want it on the caps because it just doesn't look good on the rounding of the letter. Let's see, that's about good. Cool. So we basically have our mecha effect. We're almost done actually. This is the basic effect, and you could stop right here. But what we're gonna do now is we are going to go to the displacer and go to object. Actually, no. We're gonna go to shading, and we're gonna increase this just a little bit. So we're gonna go to image, and we're gonna select the same one from before. Go to Greeble 4, which should be in the. It will be in the description for you guys. And click no. And we did nothing here, but when we change this to overlay, it basically just sharpens it up. It increases the contrast, which makes it pop a little bit more. And of course, you can do this another time. I wouldn't go more than 3 times because it's too much. But I'm gonna right click on this and right click. Okay, it should be down here. I'm gonna move this up so that it should be. Where is it? Copy shader, never mind, it's right there. I'm blind. And then we're gonna go to shader, and it's right here. Paste shader, click overlay. So essentially, I just copied that again so that it makes it pop a little bit more. And as you guys can see, when I applied that, you can see the difference. So like when I drag this down and move this around, you guys can see it pops out a little bit more. You guys can also make it pop out more by changing the height, but I would not recommend going higher than 20 on text because it gets a little bit too extreme right now. If I render this out, you guys can see that actually this is looking pretty nice, but still, once you're at like 20, it's like that's like the highest I would go. Any more than that, and it's just like chaotic. You can also do negative numbers if you want as well. Just push it the opposite way. But yeah. So from here, all we have to do really now is apply our materials, and we are done. Real quickly though, actually, once I apply these materials, go to I'm gonna apply these metal and these metal materials, which are from my pack, by the way. You guys can buy these materials, linked in the description, or if we hit 100 likes, I will give these materials away completely for free. But if the time you're watching this and we don't have 100 likes, I will leave a link in the description where you can buy these materials from my pack. You'll get 20 materials. Here, I'll show you the pack right now. It is in here and it's here. So these are the materials, really nice materials in here. I'll make a video on that soon, but yeah. So let's see, we got our metal on the caps, and cubic and seamless, we are good to go. And basically do the same thing, except we're gonna go with actually we're gonna switch these. I had these switched around, my bad. So we want this little colorful, the little purplish, darkish material on the mecha part or the caps, and then we want this on the rounding. And as we can see, and we start to render this out, and we get the effect that I basically had in the beginning of the video. Now, obviously, I use different materials in a different Lightroom, but still, you can still get the effect regardless of what Lightroom or materials you're using. I'm strictly showing you guys how to do the effect. And yeah, so this is the effect, and we are done basically. I'll show you guys real quick how to do this with logos. It is basically the same exact thing, except there's one small difference. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna go to File, we're gonna go to Merge, and we're gonna navigate to an AI. So open an Adobe Illustrator file. And if you don't have one of those, I'll leave a link in the description on how you guys can make one of those. Essentially, all you guys need to do is trace a logo out in Illustrator and save it, or you guys can do it in Photoshop and just save it as an Illustrator file, and that's basically it. So select your AI. Like I said, I'm going to do the phase logo, which is right here, and we are basically going to put this into an extrude. So take your spline or your AI in the spline path, drag it into the extrude. Once again, go to Mesh, go to Axis Center, click these two little boxes right here, click Execute, and as you can see, it jumped right exactly in the middle of the phase logo. So now we can simply just move this around wherever we want to, or we can just go to coordinates and type 0 and 0, and type 0 again for this. Also, you can click Tab to navigate quickly. So like 0, Tab, 0, Tab, 0. And go to the Scale tool. Scale this down a little bit, like so. Boom. And so, yeah, basically, when you go to your extrude, it is exactly the same. You go to Object, or you go to Caps, and like I said before, quadrangles, check this, and then it's basically the same thing as text. Other than that, there's no difference at all, literally. So if you guys have a logo, that's how you do it. From here on out, it's exactly the same as the text. So yeah, that is basically it for this tutorial, guys. Thank you guys so much for watching this tutorial. I'll be trying to make more content soon. So yeah, but there's no promises, okay? If you guys like this video, make sure to drop a like, of course. If we get 100 likes, I will, like I said before, I'll drop the materials completely for free, and the project file is already free, so go ahead and download that down below, as well as the displacement map for the effect. So post-production instinct here. I forgot to show you guys how to render it out. It's pretty simple. So you're just gonna click this button right here, and you're gonna go to save. Don't worry about the render settings, they come with the render. So literally my settings will be exactly as yours, assuming you downloaded the Lightroom, which you should because it's free. And just literally type in whatever you want. So mecha tutorial, something like that. Click X and click this button, and it will start to render. And yeah, so that's basically it. Continue with the outro. So yeah, that's basically it for the tutorial, guys. Please make sure to like, comment, and subscribe. Turn on post notifications. And yeah, with all that being said, guys, peace.